Good puzzle YouTube, 6fthax here. Happy guys today, pretty good OU match I had off of my stream yesterday. Thank you to everybody who came out to the stream. Had like 30 plus people come out, which was a lot more than I expected because it's been a couple weeks. So thank you for coming out, guys. Hopefully I will be streaming again today if I can figure out my lagging issues that I had yesterday. But of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer arm that like button down below to answer the question of the day. I'm using a pretty cool team I got off of the Smogon forums. I'll leave a link to that thread down in the description below for you guys to go check out and use some of those cool teams as well. So going into this matchup, I was deathly terrified of the Excadrill because if it's Scarfed Excadrill, I literally only have my Tangrowth to deal with it. At the same time though, it could just be a Sash lead because it looks like he's running a very hyper offensively based team. My opponent is Triss, by the way, and this is a pretty bulky offensive team I'm using. So it turns out that he is Rock's lead Excadrill, which is absolutely amazing because now this thing isn't as big of an issue if it was Scarfed or I guess like offensive life orb for some odd reason, but he turns out to have leftovers, which is kind of cool. I was expecting him just to be Focus Sash, but leftovers is a nice little tech on there. Either way, after going for the Earthquake, pretty positive he's not going to risk staying in here, so I'm going to go straight for the knockoff because him switching directly into Dragonite is a pretty good play on his part to scout out for me going for the Earthquake again, or maybe if I have the Hidden Power Fire but actually have the knockoff, and I do have the HP Ice, which is absolutely amazing because now there's no way the Dragonite should be able to knock out my Tangrowth if I can keep it at enough HP and prevent Dragonite from boosting up too much. So I go for the safe HP Ice because, again, don't want Dragonite to boost up too much as he makes a nice switch right into his Greninja. Unfortunately, if he goes for the Gunk Shot, I don't knock him out if I go for the Giga Drain, and I don't want to risk taking a Gunk Shot, so I'm going to switch into my Keldeo here as he actually ends up going for the Ice Beam. Could have maybe stayed in here with my Tangrowth to go for the Earthquake just to get off some chip damage, but I didn't really feel like I was in that scenario where I had to go for that, as this turn I could have knocked out this damn Greninja with my Scarf Keldeo, but I thought, okay, he's going to scout out for me being Scarf Keldeo, right? And he's gonna switch out. No, he stays in, goes for extra sensory, and now I have to deal with this damn Greninja for longer than I should have had to if I had just gone for the damn Secret Sword. But at the same time though, if I lock my Keldeo into the Secret Sword, that just lets Dragonite come in and Dragon Dance for free, and that's really bad. So I guess switching out there wasn't entirely too bad as I get a free switch into my Mega Mawile here on the incoming Gunk Shot. I thought he would go for the Ice Beam, but I get in my Mawile for free, which is really nice. There's no way that a non-life orbed protein Greninja, I don't know why I said it like that, but there's no way he's going to be able to knock me out with any one hit, so I'm pretty safe to just go for the knockoff. There's literally no reason for me to not make this play. Anything that's coming in is going to be taking a good amount of damage, or if it's the Excadrill as you see here, it just gets taken out, which is really good because now one giant threat is gone. Still kind of worried about the Greninja because that thing is another humongous issue I have to deal with. As he brings in the Terrakion here, I thought about staying in with my Mawile, but at the same time, I really don't need Latios outside of just dealing with this Terrakion because Greninja outspeeds me, Weavile outspeeds me, and now Mega Alakazam can knock me out with Shadow Ball. So there's not many matchups where you're going to hear someone say, oh, Latios is the most useless team member on my team. But this is just one of those matches where Latios just really doesn't do anything. And then Terrakion just barely lives the damn Draco Meteor because I didn't want to Side Shock on him potentially for some crazy reason switching into Weavile or Greninja. So I thought Draco in there was by far my better play. But no, it lives, and then he's not going to risk missing the Stone Edge, and he's just going to go for the Continental Crush, which is not a bad play on his part at all because there's not really anything else that Terrakion was going to Continental Crush and do too much damage to at this point. So down goes Latios, but it did what it needed to do, just deal and check with this Terrakion as I can now bring in my Keldeo. I don't have to risk a speed tie, so I'm just going to go straight for the Scald. I thought about going for the HP Ice, and I'm guessing this is why he switched into his Greninja because he knows that I cannot afford myself to be locked into the Secret Sword, allowing Dragonite to just come in, or even Alakazam. So he makes a pretty good aggressive switch into Greninja, knowing I wouldn't go for the Secret Sword and most likely go for the Scald or go for the HP Ice. Wish a Hydro Pump, maybe that would have been a 2 KO. Doubt it though. Unfortunately, have to sack off my Nidoking here because it does absolutely nothing. Also, yeah, no nicknames on my Pokemon this matchup, just because I didn't have time to nickname the Mons when I put the teams in that I was making. So yeah, I apologize about that. But I'm gonna be able to get a switch back into my Greninja, and this is where it's dawning on me that I have to go for an offensive move against this Greninja, and I do not want to lose the 50-50 of him either going for a Gunk Shot or going for the Ice Beam. So I go for the safe middle ground play, which is the Earthquake. Could have gone for the Giga Drain there, predicting him to Ice Beam, but if he went for the Gunk Shot, then that would have just been absolutely bad for me. By getting off this extra bit of damage on the Greninja, it's going to be a little easier for me to deal with, as I'm going to predict him to go for the Ice Beam again, and I'm going to switch right into my Mawile. Expert Belt Protean Greninja, man, was such a huge issue to this team in this match, and if I had just left in Keldeo to knock him out, then I wouldn't have had to deal with it. But like I said, I really expected him to switch. Then again, he is running a hyper offense team, but Protean and Greninja just got a kill almost every time, especially if Tangrowth got weakened. So able to knock out the Greninja with the Sucker Punch because I didn't reveal to him that I had it. As he brings in the Terrakion, I thought this was a really odd play, but you guys are about to see what he has up his sleeve. So I knock out the Terrakion, which is really great. In comes the Alakazam, which is fine by me because there's no way I'm staying in here against this. I'm going to switch into my Heatran. If he substitutes, I'm going to cry like a man-child. Luckily though, it turns out that he probably doesn't have the substitute because it doesn't go for it this turn, and spoilers, he doesn't reveal it later on in the match. But either way, I just switched into my Heatran here, more or less as death fodder because Heatran really is not doing anything. And then it turns out that he has the Encore, so he tried to bring in Terrakion to bait me to Sucker Punch. That way he could Encore me into Sucker Punch and guarantee that I would stay in and not switch out when he brought in the Alakazam. So he tried to be a little bit cheeky there, but it did not work out, as unfortunately I do lose Tangrowth. Rocks aren't too helpful at this point, so it's not that big of an issue. As I bring in my Tangrowth here, I'm going to go straight for the knockoff. If he switches into his Weavile, that's not entirely too bad because I still have my Mega Mawile, which is running a pretty good amount of HP investment, and I do resist the Icicle Crash and I do resist the knockoff, which I also believe the knockoff shouldn't be boosted because I do have a Mega Stone that cannot be knocked off. So I get rid of the Weavile's leftovers, which is even better because this means it's going to be doing less damage to my Mawile, which is definitely just going to get a kill here. As long as he doesn't crit me or flinch me with Icicle Crash, I click Adamant Max Attack Play Rough and something is dying this turn. So I chew up the Icicle Crash. He's gonna go for another one. Unfortunately, he misses unless he had flinched me. That miss does not matter at all, and I'm able to just nuke this Weavile. That crit did not matter. That crit would have killed like 10 Weaviles, I'm pretty sure. So a regular play rough would have killed like 7. It's fine. So in comes Alakazam. I really wanted to go for the Sucker Punch this turn, but still I have to play around him potentially having the substitute because sub Encore Alakazam sounds like it could be something that could potentially work. So I'm just going to sack off my Keldeo here because Keldeo literally does nothing. I don't have the Icy Wind, I have the HP Ice, so going for that against Alakazam really isn't going to help me any at all. So by switching out, I gain back HP on my Tangrowth, ensuring that I should be able to live any 2 hits from this Alakazam, and in return I can potentially 2 KO him with the knockoff as he goes for the Psychic. As long as he doesn't get like 2 absolutely high damage rolls, I live any 2 hits. So I'm gonna be able to take the Psychic, go for the knockoff. That's a clean 2 KO. However though, he can potentially switch into his Dragonite here or just stay in and go for another Psychic. So I try to switch into my Mawile, expecting him to either go for the Psychic, switch out, or maybe try to Encore me into knockoff. That way he could try and set up with his Dragonite, but because I'm able to catch it on the double switch, I should be able to live an Earthquake and knock him out with the Play Rough. But it turns out that he was actually an extreme speed Dragon Dance, Roost, and Dragon Claw Dragonite, which means he had no move to touch my Mega Mawile, which means at this point Mawile is going to be able to finish off the Dragonite and in return also finish off this Alakazam. I don't know if I used that properly in a sentence. Either way, On the plus side, I'm knocking out Dragonite. I'm gonna knock out this Alakazam and pull out the victory 2-0. So that was a good game to Trish. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the battle. Make sure to hammer arm that like button down below. Again, hoping I will be able to stream today and battle you guys. And of course, if it is a good game, I will definitely be uploading it like this match. So check out the 2 videos on the end screen, guys. Hammer arm that like button down below and answer the question of the day. Thank you all for watching. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.